Professor Boyfriend is smarter than you because he's bald, wears super cool glasses, and a bow tie. But just because he's smart doesn't mean he's the best role model. Therefore, this podcast is rated ridiculous and should not be taken seriously, no matter how much Professor Boyfriend wants to be.
Taboo here. Everything is black and every other color too.
Welcome to the very first episode of Professor Boyfriend's Schoolhouse, the podcast that is too cool for school. Literally, the only classroom where you can drink a beer and your professor will not chide you one little bit. You can find me on Twitter, by the way, at ProfBoyfriend. PROFBOY friend. You can also find us on patreon.com/ProfessorBoyfriend. Please give a think on it. If you like what you hear, come on over to the Patreon and support us on there. Throw a little love our way. Help support our show. We'd really appreciate it. We'd love you for it. Maybe. Yeah, we will. You can watch us on YouTube, by the way. Please think about subscribing and clicking that bell to make sure that you get updates, so you know when we post new material. Big deal, right? Because you want to know what's going on in the world of Professor Boyfriend. You can also listen to the podcast for free on iTunes and also Spotify. I said free. People like free shit, don't they? I do. Tonight I am joined by Jeffey, the cigar and scotch aficionado and member of the Thinkers and Drinkers Club.
An exclusive and amazing group of people.
And this is exactly why you don't know about it.
Before. But now you know it exists.
Yes, now the beans have been spilled.
But that is all you get.
That is all you get. And without further ado, tonight's lecture will be on academia. Why? Well, I'll tell you all why. The Plan B fiasco, also known as "This is how I got fired." Well, to those of you who don't know me yet, or maybe you do, I was a college professor at a college, right? Down in Stupidville. And yeah, great place, Stupidville. Like, don't call it Stupidville for no reason, that's for sure. And during my time there, I had inadvertently mentioned some things that, well, some other people didn't like. The main thing of which was about the Plan B pill. We in our class in our book in class, we had an article that actually talked about the fucking Plan B pill. But don't talk about the Plan B pill, because apparently people are uncomfortable and they will report you to Human Resources and they will ruin your goddamn life. And you will get fired. You will get fired, so don't fucking do it. But anyways, so we had read this, and the whole point was whether or not the Plan B pills should be banned or something. And I had just mentioned a little personal anecdote about that time that back in high school, I had a pregnancy scare with a young lady that I was dating. And I had taken a Plan B pill to hopefully prevent her from having a baby, right?
Before or after?
You're funny. And that's what... Well, I mean, in hindsight, it was a dumbass idea because boys don't take Plan B pills, and nobody told me that. At the time.
Male contraceptive is progressive.
I was 16 for crying out loud. I mean, what the fuck? But yes, this is why we're talking about academia tonight and everything that's wrong with it. And so sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. And that brings us to the daily rant, because all college professors have one. No matter whatever class you sit in, you're always going to get that, rant. They bitch about something. And that's not going to be any different here. Whether it's a minute, whether it's 3, whether it's 8 minutes. There's always a rant. So, and obviously we have a little problem with academia. It's just a little bit penisy. Just a little bit. For several reasons. And I'm sure, Jeffey, you can back me up here. One of the things that I was brainstorming about, and I sat for a long time and I thought about it. And I wrote some things down and I said, the students, they just don't read. They don't listen. They're not resourceful enough. And of course you're gonna have those students who just don't give a shit. They come in and they do the bare minimum, and that's all they do. They don't read, whether it's history or English or whatever fucking class that you have to read for. They for whatever reason, it just not in their bag of tricks.
Is it a symptom of a bigger thing where the college degree now is the doorway to jobs anymore, right? That is an overarching thing.
It's the new high school diploma.
They're not there to learn that information. No. They're there to get a degree, whether they learned anything or not, so that they can now get a better job or a better paying job or a job to begin with. And to clarify, I love academia. I'm very invested, but I am totally on board with the prof here that there's a problem inherent in the way these students are approaching learning. For sure. And I think that's... we could talk for a long time about this, and we have.
Well, and I think part of it too is the fact that it's like they don't want to explore outside of what they already know half the time. They're not resourceful enough. When you ask them what a word means, they sit there and they just look at you, and all you hear is crickets. Like that. And
you're welcome.
Exactly. That's exactly what you hear. And they're sitting in front of computers in a goddamn computer lab. And I'm like, what? You can't look up this word and tell me what it means in the internet age? While you're fucking Facebooking your best friend or whatever? It's ridiculous.
It's a burn through this 50 minutes as fast as I can with as little thought process as possible.
I'm thinking you're probably right. I mean, I told former students, download a free dictionary app. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and that way you don't have to carry a fat ass book around in your damn bag with all the time.
Which when I started college, I had to do, and I still utilized it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God, man, I probably have back problems because of carrying a bag around for 10 years with fat ass books in.
Yeah, my dictionary was one of those little 6 by like 4 by 4 like doorstop brick looking things.
Oh, I remember in
loved it.
high school, my honors professor, she gave us a collegiate dictionary. It was Webster's, collegiate dictionary, the big fat red one, the hardback one, for graduation. She gave it to all of us, all of the honors students.
Dang.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoover. Anyways, so those are a couple of the things as students, right? On top of this, regarding, in addition to their work ethic, I guess you can say, they have a problem with earning their keep for some reason. They'd rather be coddled than, do the work that's required of them, follow the directions. Some of them even resist the directions. I remember I had a student bitch at me about deadlines. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you have deadlines in everything. You have deadlines at work. Why should school be any different? And she's like, well, I just don't agree with deadlines. So I'm like, well, I guess you're not going to do well in this class. And needless to say, she was one of those C students who didn't do C work because she slacked. If she stuck with it and gave me that C work and she was consistent with it, she would have passed.
And that another symptom, right? I think of an underlying issue. High schools getting report card grades themselves, right? You don't have a public school that wants a D, so they're going to make their students good at any cost, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't like deadlines. Okay, you don't have deadlines as long as you produce A work, right? And then colleges are the same. What is our graduation rate? What is our retention rate? It's all politicized. It's very dangerous because
don't get me started in campus politics.
They can't fail dumb people because then it ruins their numbers.
Yeah, well, absolutely, you're absolutely right. The last staff meeting, faculty meeting I went to, they had said they were talking about raising the budget. And they talked about, not only was the tuition going up, the fees were going up. And these are the same kind of fees that students would complain about to the professors. I've heard several, on top of parking permits. But
I have so much to do with this.
Everybody pays their fucking parking permit. Get over it, okay? If you go into school, that's what you're going to pay for. I'm sorry, okay? It's just the nature of the beast. Yeah, the whole coddling thing, it's a problem. Earning your keep is important, and they need to learn this discipline.
That used to be part of the education.
Right.
Yes,
and now there
100%.
is no discipline. The students run rampant, basically, metaphorically speaking. They get their way. All they have to do is bitch at somebody, and then the other people hear it, and then they talk about people behind their backs, and then they make you feel like you're being talked about behind your back, and then I guess you are being talked about behind your back. People thought I was a Satanist on campus. I have no idea why. I mean, don't look at my pin or anything. But, whatever. I mean, obviously that was happening. And I guess some people didn't like me, and they just needed a reason to say bye. Which is not unlike other jobs that you've had or that anybody's had. But yeah, in addition to that, moreover, I think that the students are just not as okay. High school students now, graduating seniors, are not as smart as they used to be. And it's not their fault. They're a product of the system, and it's a shame. So please don't think that I'm dogging students today, because I'm not.
No.
But it is a problem because the average, literacy rate, for instance, of a graduating high school senior now is like around 8th grade or something like that. They're at least, 4 years behind where they should be. And this is a problem. It's something that needs fixed. This Common Core bullshit isn't working. Coming from an educator, okay? They're doing assignments now that are so easy compared to what we did.
100% on board. I will teach a writing course and ask students if they've ever written like a research paper before, and it's always and then
Sure,
you dig in a little deeper, and it was a 4-page version of the 5-paragraph essay based on something they all read together. There is no originality. It's cookie cutter. They're
right. That's called conformity.
Word of the day. Should the couch start
Word of the day.
talking?
Conformity.
You want to know what to do when someone says a secret word, right, boys and girls?
Scream real loud.
And that's where schools are going. But
Seriously.
I digress.
It's all about conformity. That's right. And I kind of felt like that because I'm an independent thinker, okay? I'm a weirdo, if you hadn't already noticed. And weirdos don't go well with places that are trying to push for a conformist agenda.
Right.
Everybody has to have this cookie cutter education, and they have to write about the same kind of things.
Would you call it a
In my
common
classes,
core?
the students were allowed to write about what they wanted.
Exactly.
As long as they applied the methods that I was teaching in class. But, whatever.
And I find that is, at this point, asking too much. When
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't give out a paragraph of what they should write about, what they call like a prompt, right? I give a prompt, right?
But they don't read the fucking prompts either.
Argumentative essay. No. Sometimes I get a little snarky in my emails back.
Oh yeah, I would too. Well, if you give somebody a directive and they ask you a dumbass question, and it's on the prompt, the directions that we tell you to read, it's really frustrating to answer someone like that. For instance, I had an assignment where they had to write an annotated bibliography, and I had several students ask me if the annotated bibliography was supposed to be in alphabetical order. Well, what do the directions say? Oh, it's supposed to be in alphabetical order. Then what do you think, dumbass?
Take the time to send that email. You could have read this.
Jesus, just read the prompt, for crying out loud. On top of that, read the comments. When your professor makes comments on your digital files, he or she spends a lot of time doing that. We go out of our way to make those comments to help you guys. But if you don't fucking do it, you don't read it, how are you supposed to improve?
No.
You cannot. No. You will be in the same spot that you were 5 minutes ago, or an hour ago, or days ago, whatever.
I get the student, right? Rough draft. I leave a bunch of comments, and this isn't everybody, but sometimes the question comes out, what grade will I get if I don't do any of this?
Gee,
and
I wonder.
That drives me nuts. Why get an education if you're not trying to learn? Right? Like, you can produce a first draft. I give you some comments and some feedback, and part of the learning process. The difference between you Googling your own information and going to a college classroom is working on what you've created. So that's my least favorite question of all time.
Oh yeah, really dumb. And you should see some of these assignments, people. I mean, the online courses are so dumbed down now. They're 1 2-page assignments and 1 5-page research paper at the end, and it's like. And granted, maybe this was an 8-week class that I was teaching, but still, this is not the level where these students should be.
Right, and that's why online courses scare me, because that might be where it has to be without face-to-face instruction.
Right. Again, the cookie cutter.
The cookie cutter. It's there. You can
education.
almost see it. There's a physical form in
And
my
what's
mind.
even worse is an online instructor. You're not teaching much at all. They watch videos, they read directions, they might email you and do some online discussion with you here and there, but that's it. And it's like, as a professor, you're not teaching at all.
No.
And it's like, well, why am I being paid to teach if I'm not teaching? I'm just facilitating something.
You're a rubric with
This
a...
isn't what I signed up for.
No.
You know, you don't even get to teach the stuff you want to teach half the time.
No.
And that's messed up because each class is a cookie cutter class.
You're
a
just
master class,
A
as
test
they call it.
scorer. You know, you're a graduate assistant at that point, taking the papers and just giving them a grade.
Right? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That I do not like.
Yeah, and that's it's too much work. Too many hours that you put in, you know, and too little pay. You know, on top of, you know, if you're doing online, even when you're doing online classes, you're always grading because they're huge classes. 25, 30 students. You know, you teach 3 classes, that's 90 fucking students that you have to pay attention to for several months on end. I mean, and teaching in front of the classroom, which I prefer because you get that one-on-one, but apparently people don't like me enough to keep me. So, watch out. Don't hire me. Any university, don't fucking hire Professor Boyfriend because
he may use an
ruin
anecdote
your reputation
based on the reading.
Even though a lot of people think he's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm cooler than you. I'm bald and I wear a bow tie. Fuck off.
And I could see you being a very relatable presence in the front of a classroom.
Right, and
that's what blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know, I thought it was a good idea to kind of blend that reality and academia thing together and like make some kind of primordial soup out of it. But it didn't really work for me, I guess. Some people were too offended. OMG. So what is the solution for this problem? I mean, I was thinking about it, and, you know, I have this metaphor in my head, I guess, of, you know, when you're trying to fix something. Say you break a bone, and it kind of sets weird, and it needs reset. It needs broken again, because it didn't heal right in the first place. I think this is the problem here. They thought, you know, the system was broken before Common Core.
100%.
Don't get me wrong. It was. But, on the other hand, Common Core isn't the answer. You know, the states need their power back to, you know, make their own curriculum. You can't just do that on a federalized level because everybody's going to be as stupid as they were before. Everybody's going to be at the same level. On top of the fact that, you know, certain schools that have reputations that pride themselves off of great academic performance and things like that because they have such advanced curriculum or whatever, you know, can they still do that if everything's supposed to be at a particular level? I don't know.
I don't know either.
What do you think?
Well, I like your visual there, right? Because if this is going to get fixed, which it needs, it is going to be a painful process, and it won't be something that happens immediately, right? When you're re-breaking a bone,
you cannot heal without a little pain.
You can't heal without a little pain.
A little itching.
And
swelling, maybe.
And, you know, having to keep it raised and all of that. It's a process. And if our country wants to stay competitive with an educated adult population, we can't pump out a bunch of people that help the school system get more money. Right, we need to go back to
it. Does kind of seem like that they are motivated by monetary gain.
Not even seem like. I guarantee that is the motivation.
Expanding the campus, making it look prettier instead of investing money in the quality of the fucking education.
Right. Well, you see English departments getting run down and shoddy, and you see football stadiums getting bigger and bigger, and brighter lights, more beer, more seats, and you see where the priority lies. wise. And
Yeah.
it stems with money. It's
Yeah.
100% money. And that's when they start...
money makes the world go round, right?
And it's hard to argue that a university with less money is better than a university with more money. But I think the education can't be motivated by that, right? If my school pumps out 99 out of 100 people, but 40 of them shouldn't have passed, I'm putting out a bad product, right? If 4 out of every 10 McDonald's hamburgers were rotten, right, McDonald's would not be doing well. So why do universities get to do that?
McDonald's already makes me queasy, dude.
I know. That was terrible.
Just the thought of that was even worse.
Yeah, 4 out of every 10 Taco Bell tacos were rancid. You know, Taco Bell would not be a thing anymore. So, if a college only puts out 6 out of 10, but those 6 are the cream of the crop, the best of the best, I think that is the direction you need to go. Those 4 people will need to try again.
Right. I mean, because, like, to tell you the truth, there's just some people who are built for college, and there are some people who are not. And that is the reality of it. And you can't just make people pass. You can't do it. If they don't put forth the effort, if they can't do the same amount of work that other people can do, that they're supposed to do to pass the class, they shouldn't be there.
100% agree. Not everybody needs college.
Right.
No. And not. As a super annoyingly educated individual, I still...
I am pretty educated as well.
Yeah, I get that.
MFA, 100%. Motherfucking awesome degree. You try getting one.
I started laughing before I even got it, and then I got it, and I laughed more.
Yeah.
Yeah, MFA.
Because I could tell everybody that. I got a motherfucking awesome degree, and you don't. But, okay, so that's one solution. But maybe there's something else. Maybe people don't need to go to college at all to be successful, to be happy in what they do, to do what they love, right? Our special guest for this episode is proof that this absolutely can be the case, and he's here to tell you why you should give a shit. Welcome back to Professor Boyfriend Schoolhouse. This segment's called Why Should I Give a Shit? Or Why Should We Give a Shit? And for this particular segment, I just talk to people who are cool and who have something to offer everybody else, whether it's a particular talent or something that they want to share with people, worthy of note. So I'm here with my buddy Nolan.
How's it going, everybody?
And who are you? Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
I got 2 daddies, so I don't know which one you want me to start with. Which dad do I like better? Is that what you want me to choose dads right now? First thing I say.
No.
Because I could choose.
I was just being facetious.
I'm not going to choose.
So this particular segment, this episode, we're talking about academia and kind of how it's not all it's cranked up to be, is it? You end up paying a bunch of money, you're in a shitload of debt, and you're constantly treading water and trying to get back up to the top. And it always feels like this every time. I have 2 fucking degrees, dude, and I'm still paying these bills, and I will be paying my student loans probably for the rest of my life. I might even be dead before I pay them off. I don't know, something like $90,000 in debt. What are you, Jeffy? 100? 120? What? 140? 30? No.
$350,000! 530.
880.
It's a big number. 108. 108. I'm
Hold
sorry.
the fingers up.
Okay.
Can't count
Thank
good.
you, Jeffy. So, point is like, is it really worth all this debt? Is it possible to find something that you love to do, make money doing it, and be happy doing that? I don't know if I was happy being a teacher, because I felt like it wasn't something that I actually wanted to do in the first place. It just kind of felt like I was going through the motions, and that was people expected me to do, to make money. And, weighing out the options, thinking about things like that. You can't really stay local if you're trying to do, I don't know, movies or get big into music. You gotta go to fucking New York, LA for that shit. And, a small town Ohio isn't necessarily the best place for this.
Yeah, it's hard to find the good ones here. I mean, Ohio's pretty... I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Well, you get the point, though. Ohio's Ohio. It's weird.
Yeah, it's just,
but it's hard to do. It's harder to do something in those kinds of fields, the creative arts and things like that, when you live someplace like here. But on the other hand, we have a guy like you. You're kind of an anomaly for this kind of place.
Kitty.
What do you do? You cut hair, right?
I do hair. I'm a hairdresser. I've been a hairdresser for 11 years now.
Yeah. Holy shit,
Yeah,
that's a long time.
That's a long time. Very long time.
That makes me feel really old.
Me too. Not too old, though.
That means I've known you for that long.
Longer than that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit, too. I mean,
yeah, I remember.
I was friends with my brother years before. I was a couple years behind him in high school, so I don't really know when you guys started hanging out, but whenever you guys started hanging out,
I met your brother when I was 18.
All right, then I wouldn't have been born yet. I was -4.
Yeah, I met Ryan when I was 18.
How old was Ryan? He might have been like, I don't know, like 16.
29. But point being is, so you like what you do, right?
Absolutely.
And would you say you love it?
I do love what I do. Every day is different. I mean, creating is awesome. When someone comes in with a great idea and I can,
Like
create something
interpret it?
interpret it and create something that was never there before. That's pretty awesome. And when they feel happy, when they leave happy, it makes me feel good. So it's kind of like, it's a great feeling. I mean, it makes someone else happy about their hair, about the way they look.
You make Pandu happy.
Yeah.
She's pretty happy right now. I have no idea why.
It's definitely a good feeling.
Yeah. Maybe she wants to be on the YouTube
Maybe
or
so.
something.
Being on your feet all day, though, I mean, that's rough. But whatever, I've been doing it forever, so I'm kind of used to it.
That's good, though. And it's good that you love what you do. And you definitely, you were mentioning to me earlier about how you have no debt.
Besides my car, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the only financial debt I'm in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm looking to get a house in the near future, so that'll just add on to that. But I don't have any. I never went to college or anything. I took schooling through, like, in high school. I went to a technical center, so my 11th and 12th grade years were spent learning, the cosmetology trade, which was pretty cool. And it was like way cheaper than it would have been to graduate and then go to hair school after. I believe it's somewhere around $20,000 to go to hair school now if you wait till after high school. But
wow,
I spent
20 grand.
My parents spent at the time roughly, maybe not even $1,000 for both.
Think
years.
about that before you do that,
Yeah.
kids.
So for both years, it was about $1,000, maybe less than that.
Huh.
And I had my license before I graduated. When I was 17 years old, I started working, and I've been there ever since. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and you moved up in the ranks. I'm as far as I understand.
Well, I mean, when you do something for so long, you get better at it and you learn new things. You have to just keep pushing yourself. You can't really get stale in this industry. You have to keep up with new styles. You just have to keep up with everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know that's
With
that's the
anything
thing
you
too.
do,
You know,
you-
you fucking earn your keep, right?
Yeah, you have to try.
You
I mean, you have to try hard.
Worked, you got in there and you worked your way up, and now you're what, a manager or something?
Yeah, I've been the manager there for a while.
How long?
Probably about 7 or 8 years.
That's impressive.
We've hired and people have left.
And he's still there.
And I'm still there. Yeah, I mean, you just have to want to come to work at least 92% of the time. I mean, there's days where you don't feel like doing it, or
We don't have that with anything. Though.
you have to. I mean, you have to deal with the public on it. I mean,
Yeah,
with
you
your
do.
occupation, mine,
You really do.
You have to be on it. You can't bring your drama from home into your workplace, because then it's gonna throw you off.
No,
Yeah,
I learned that from a young age. You know, you leave your shit at the door,
you gotta kick it off the door. Even when you get
Yeah.
there, you just
and then when you leave that shit at the door. You
Yeah.
don't bring your shit from work home.
you can talk. I mean, it's good to vent if you had a bad day, but you can't be
Yeah,
taking it out on
but you
people.
can't let it permeate who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Because once it gets to that point, you get depressed, and then you fucking do things that you would normally do.
Right, like overdrink,
Yeah, like drink too much.
have a bad night.
Yeah, and then, you know.
I mean, I don't do that.
No.
I've never done that.
No.
Overdrinking.
No, he's never done
Overdrinking is fruit.
that. That's for young college students who
The
don't know
cat's-
who they are yet.
The cat's almost blocking the camera. It's like,
Her tail
So
keeps
close.
flicking up in it.
yeah, overdrinking's for total losers.
So yeah, so you go to, you didn't even have to go to hair school for this.
Technically, I did, but it was through.
But you went to, this is technical school.
Not an actual.
And you were still in high school at
same
the time.
education, same test
right?
that everyone else takes.
What, did you go to, like, TCTC or
Yeah.
something?
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's a Trumbull County Tech School or whatever.
Yeah. And it was,
So you didn't even, so you do that concurrently with your high school, and you get credit for doing it, and you prepare yourself for what you have to face in the real world.
Yeah.
And then you go out there and you get the job, you got the job, and now you're doing all right for yourself.
yeah, I mean, I really haven't struggled, but you also have to. I mean, no, it's
Now,
there's
how
no
do you define struggling?
I mean, I grew up super poor. That's how. I mean, I know how to, and I've struggled before, so I never wanted to ever be at that level again. So I knew
that.
that I wanted to make something of myself, and I wanted to, I wanted to buy the things that I wanted, and I wanted to be able to,
Yeah, it's a great
just
feeling.
do the things I wanted to do without having to be like, oh, I don't have enough money. But I mean, I have an able body,
You are an able-bodied man.
and it's all on what you put behind your chair in my industry. You got to go out and get it. There's no client bus, so I can't just wait for people to come in or just be like, yeah, I'm really good, but I can't show you what I can do. Like, you have to share your work, and you have to, you have to be personable, and it's just...
And you have a portfolio.
You have to have a portfolio. We can put echo on that later.
Yeah. Portfolio.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
Just show people.
You gotta show people your work.
Now, in addition to cutting hair and whatnot, you also once waxed my back.
I did once wax your back. That was the only back I ever waxed, my friend.
Oh.
And we know why.
Yeah.
It was
The
excruciating.
most painful experience anybody will ever experience.
It was bad.
Maybe.
It
I
was
don't
bad.
know. It was
You
like
were
my
going on
entire
vacation.
back was on fucking fire. I was going on vacation to Florida.
Yeah, super hot.
And I was like, dude, I'm thinking about going on the beach, and, I don't want this disgusting hairy back, and let's just get rid of it. I'll pay you to do it.
So
It's
let's
no
wax
problem.
my entire back, and I've never had it done before, and I'm gonna go to a super hot state, and it's not gonna be irritated at all, right? That's what you thought?
Maybe that's what I thought at the time. I don't know. Sometimes I don't have the greatest foresight.
Oh my god.
But, holy shit. I will never, ever, 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 ever do that again.
I don't even offer those services, but you were my bud, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it for you, but I can't tell you how it's gonna feel because I've never done it,
Yeah.
and I've never had it done. So.
You know, I'd rather be hairier than Tom Selleck for the rest of my life.
The first strip, though, I was like,
experience that again.
we had to keep going.
Clippers will help.
Yeah,
Clippers help. It's okay.
See, I was probably
I'll just shear myself like a fucking sheep for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you do have a hairy back, bro. I mean, that was fucked up. You know?
Hey, well, what are you gonna do? Biology just, you know, blessed me with these genes, and this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis.
Simba.
Oh.
Oh, the Pandu interlude. Hello, darling. So, that was a great experience. The most painful I've ever
Enlightening.
had. And now everyone knows about it.
Yeah, now everyone does.
And that makes me feel great. That you know something ridiculous about Professor Boyfriend. And on top of that, despite the tail in my face, you also do something else with your spare time on top of your
My career.
your career, the capital C. What is that you do?
I play guitar in a band called Northern Ghost, and we toured the country a couple times.
Where
have a
have
record
you
out.
toured?
We've been to a lot of states, man. I've been to California, Colorado.
But that was fun.
Yeah, it's great. It was amazing. The mountains there, driving through the mountains, it's totally surreal. It was insane.
What are you talking about the mountains, man? Like, weed's legal there.
Oh yeah, the
Like,
weed.
That's what
Well,
everybody
I mean,
cares about.
I haven't got to that yet. Also, the cat is totally in front of camera too right now. Get the hell out of here.
100%.
Get that.
I mean,
Get that cat out of here. Get the cat.
it's whatever.
I
And
mean,
you go away for a second.
pretty much almost all of them. That's a way better way to put it.
That's good.
Besides Florida, that
That's good. You
sticks
guys,
out.
on, you guys on a label then?
Yeah, we're signed to Tragic Hero Records,
Oh,
based out of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
They have an office in Cleveland too.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
All right.
So they have like distribution coming out of there, and they actually have a studio in that place. They just built a new like an entire new building, and they have an amazing studio there. It's insane. It's crazy. Pretty cool.
Do they have one of those big giant mixers with all sorts of channels?
They actually have
Or is it all digital now?
half of Michael Jackson's like mixer, like half of
Mixing
it that was
board?
used for Thriller. Yeah, half of it.
Wow,
was,
like it was Thriller.
yeah, like for real, like
mixing board.
yeah. So I touched that.
Holy Quincy
That was
Jones.
cool. That was very cool.
Yeah.
The guy who
Just to
produced
touch something like
Yeah,
that would
the-
be great.
the guy who produced Hoobastank was there. He works in the back, and I mean,
They got a new album.
there was
out.
a bunch of bands he produced. Like he produced like the album that went like platinum or whatever. Like Found the Reason. Is it The Reason? Is the song? You know that
I
song.
don't remember off the top of my head.
Reason for me to change how I used to be. You know that song?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. Come on.
I don't know, man.
I'm holding my bush right now.
I don't know. Like, it sounds familiar. Maybe I've heard it, but it's not, like, in my repertoire, you know?
Anyways, we can cut this out, or we can leave it. Either way, this
But-
guy was there, and he produced Hoobastank, and I got to meet him, and it was really crazy.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, it's very neat.
That is cool.
They have a cool office in Cleveland.
You know, they have a new album out.
I don't. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just came out. I haven't heard it or anything. I'm not a big Hoobastank fan,
Hopefully
but
it
that's
doesn't-
cool. I
Hopefully
mean,
it don't stank.
yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully
I
it
mean,
don't stank.
I hope it's not like Hoobastink,
Yeah.
right?
That's where I was going with that joke, but subtly.
But whatever.
Either way, that's way off topic, and I love it.
That's hey, whatever.
I love it.
It is what it is, and it will be. It shall be what it shall be. So you're able to do this though while you keep your job and
Right.
there's no conflict there.
I mean, it works. I've been there for a long time, and it's right now it's just me and my boss that work there, and we're pretty busy all the time. And when I'm not there,
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Sherry's pretty awesome. She's great. She's a great woman. She's done a lot for me. Love her. Plug. Sherry got you.
Good.
Camera too. Anyways.
And in your band, you play guitar?
Yes, I do.
Do you sing too?
I do backup vocals.
That's.
Yeah, I just back up whatever Tony can't.
And what kind of music do you guys play?
I would classify it as metal, rock. You know, it's not like super heavy, but you know, there's a lot of melody too. There's a lot of singing involved.
Melodic is good.
Melodic is great.
Melodic is good.
Yeah, it's structured for the most part. I mean, there's a couple songs on the record that aren't our favorite, but you know, you're gonna. I mean,
You have those filler songs.
I mean,
Do you have a favorite song?
I don't really have a favorite song off the record. It's hard because we all have our favorite songs, and I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. That's about it. Yeah.
No. Well, that's okay.
Heart of Stone would probably be it. We shot a video for that about a year or so ago, and that, I mean, the chorus in that song is pretty awesome, in my opinion.
Good.
You check it out. Heart of Stone by Northern Ghost.
Northern Ghost. I like that.
It's a band.
It's like Northern Exposure meets Ghost? Spooky.
Guys.
That's a cool name.
It's
I
a
wish
band
I would
name.
have thought of something like that.
It is a band name. We needed one, so we did.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta
You need a
pick
band
something.
name, yeah. I mean,
You gotta pick something.
too bad you have to do that. That was weird.
It's like some bands, they have horrible names.
Been through a lot of band names. It's been some
And-
bad ones.
You know, like, have you ever heard of the band Crossfade?
I have.
Okay, so I knew them for a minute. My cousin lives down in South Carolina where they're from, and
Okay.
like his moms were friends with the drummer's wifey or something, and
Gotcha. I was really
they
sure.
used to be called Sugar Daddy Superstar.
That name's way better. Why would you change it?
I know, that's what I thought. That was a fucking cool
Like,
name.
how would-
Why do you change your name to
How
Crossfade?
wouldn't
What
that
the
be
fuck
marketable?
is that?
Yeah, it's just way shorter.
I don't know, but I wouldn't do that. So you guys got a good name.
Thank you, man.
Don't pick a bad name.
It flows. Yeah.
When you are you guys working on anything lately?
We all collectively work on things on our own, and we share with each other. We're a little spread out. Some of us are, you know, spread out. But we have a good amount of material written for our next record. Our first
great.
record came out almost exactly a year ago. So yeah, since then, I mean, since that first record came out, we've worked on music ever since then. We have a lot of material, but we're not really, you know, locked in on every song. There's, you know, songs we have to scrap completely because we came up with better ideas that are similar, or songs we have to scrap for parts, or songs that are just good, just fine, and that just need vocals. So we've been writing ever since we released that record, which is titled Happy, Sad, Depressed, Suicidal.
I like it.
So you could check that out if you'd like.
Sounds like a downer.
Or an upper. Not really.
I mean, more like a speedball.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what you're
Upper
talking
and downer at the same
I
time.
don't know what that means, man. Talking about drugs or something? Because I don't know.
You're
Anything.
funny.
I don't know anything about drugs.
Sure, you wouldn't. You're not a rock star or anything.
Define rock star. I play guitar on different stages, and I've done it for a long time. Does that make me a rock star?
No. I guess not.
What would make you a rock star?
I guess you'd
Outside-
have to go platinum. I don't know.
Platinum. Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
have to go.
to define a rock star is very difficult. I mean, like we're talking
A
about
lifestyle, or
Well, I mean, the lifestyle is definitely one,
Right.
but you gotta have the wherewithal to back it up. You know,
I mean, it could be a total full blown.
like fucking, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, Rockstar. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not doing blow every day. My
Marilyn
job wouldn't allow it.
Manson, Rockstar.
Can't do that.
No.
Are you
But
putting me down, kind of, right now?
no.
Just trying to put me down.
No, it's not. That's not what I mean, really. It's just I'm kind of agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
I don't think being a
I
rock
think the
star.
term
it's
rock
fine,
star is so
it's-
corny.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah,
a
and
lot
that's
of people,
what it is.
A lot of people think would probably think you're an asshole if you would consider yourself a rock star.
Exactly. So I would never say it.
Yeah,
dude.
and I admire how you do both. How you do like your one job and you like that, you do your other job and you like that too, and you're able to do both.
They're able to tie them together.
That's
in a
really
way.
great. That's really, really great.
Because you have to kind of have the look in a sense too. You know, you have to look cohesive as a band. There's style involved. You know, hair can be important.
Yeah.
Images a lot. You know, image is very important.
Yeah, you know, I was reading this one essay once where it was talking by this guy named David Giffels, one of my old professors from college.
Okay.
And it was called, the particular essay was called Trapped in a World That They Never Made, and it was talking about, because he's from Akron, and he was talking about the Akron scene
Okay.
back in the day, you know, like early 80s-ish, back when the Pretenders were already established or whatnot. And he was talking about this one band that he was going to see, and the name of the band escapes me at this point, but the members of the band were all wearing different shit, and they
Okay.
seemed like it was a cacophony of different styles.
But it worked
One
together
guy
in
was
a way?
wearing dressed in a suit. One guy had like a kamikaze tie on his head, and
It's not like it goes together.
another guy,
It's getting
you know,
worse,
dressed in a
actually.
fucking football
It's
jersey.
getting worse.
and,
Yeah, that
like,
doesn't go together at all.
and it doesn't really seem like the cohesive band. And I guess we never really heard of them at the moment, you know, now.
Yeah.
So I guess they're not important enough to remember.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to wear.
Maybe if they just would have wore the right thing.
You don't gotta wear matching clothes. Like that's not. I mean, some
No,
bands do
not
that
like the
though.
fucking Beatles or something. But I mean,
Right,
like,
those are costumes,
if-
though. It's different. It's like a costume.
but if the styles kind of mesh, they go
Right.
together. They blend
Like you can't
together.
do My Chemical Romance. Over
Variation on a theme.
There's a
No,
lot of
not
people-
My Chemical Romance.
You can't wear that, and people wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, they're copying off of that band,"
Yeah,
which is kind of it's
yeah. That's just like the Mushroom Head Slipknot thing.
Right.
Oh, fucking
and
bands that wear
there
masks.
are
It's like,
so many bands.
oh, the
since
gimmick's
then.
over. It's dead.
Right. There's a lot of bands that like try and do that gimmick when like that you're just trying to be like Slipknot. That's just kind of weird. Like you don't. I don't feel that we really have a gimmick, which you know you don't really. I mean,
That's
some
good.
people
I
have
think
their
that makes you kind of timeless in a way.
In a way, yeah. I guess I can see that.
Because gimmicks get old,
Right, yeah.
and then you have to evolve. But if you're already like malleable,
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the music. If your music is amazing, and you do have that, you know, like,
yeah,
Those
and I think
outfits
that's
or
what some
whatever.
people forget.
yeah. I mean, I feel that our music speaks for itself. We don't really have, you know, we have a promo that was taken in black and white, but that's about it. We're not, I mean, our music video is black and white, but we aren't like, you know, that's not us. It was just a couple things that we did. So,
Well, and what else is important is that you know you guys are true to yourselves.
yeah, you have to be.
That
I
you
mean,
know who you are and what you're trying to say.
I mean, we're not talking about, oh, my ex-girlfriend really hurt my feelings. Like, nothing like that. You know, it's, our lyrics are you know,
Right.
also true. You know, they stay true. It's not a bunch of made-up stuff. I mean, we worked really hard on the music. Tony worked really hard on the melodies and the vocals. We didn't touch that at all. That was all him. I mean, there was a couple things where like, this would sound maybe better this way, and you know, stuff like that, but it was never, you know, he had that, like, that was all him, which is crazy to me. And when we went in the studio to record that album, we had only heard 2 songs with vocals, and the rest we just trusted him, and it came out, I mean, the way it did, in my opinion, it's awesome. It came out great.
And can you buy this album
You can.
somewhere?
You can buy this album.
Where can you buy this album?
Pretty much any music platform. If you look up Northern Ghost, you'll see our album Happy, Sad, Depressed, Suicidal, and you could buy it. If you don't want to buy it, that's fine. You can
You
listen.
guys are on like iTunes.
Yeah, Spotify. It's totally free if you listen on Spotify.
But anyways, so you got this awesome life, man. You know, you got a good job that you like, and
Right?
you're doing your music, and you're loving it, and people have been hearing it, and they can go see you. Are you guys touring anytime soon?
We have a possible tour in the works right now. I don't know 100% if it's going to happen or what we're doing right now, but we may have something coming up very soon. It's classified.
Like local, or
I mean, the closest we play on this tour that supposedly isn't happening or may happen would be Cleveland.
so you've
But
done it.
we have a tour offer right now. That's what I'm basically saying.
That's pretty
Yeah.
local.
Yeah,
I would consider Cleveland local.
I mean, technically, it'd be local.
less than 90 minutes away.
Around that, yeah.
And you guys, where can people find you online?
Just
Do you
search
have a
for
website?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an actual website, but we have a Facebook.
Okay.
We have an Instagram, a Spotify, account. You can Google Play, iTunes, pretty much everything.
Excellent.
Just search it.
And are you on Twitter?
Yeah, we are on Twitter.
And what is your Twitter handle?
I believe it's just Northern Ghost, maybe Northern Ghost Ohio. I'm not 100%, and I'm actually not on Twitter myself, so I can't even search it on my
Oh, that's okay.
twat. I can't search it on my twat to find out. Is that how you would say that?
That's cool.
I can't twat it.
Well, you can find them, Northern Ghost, on either Twitter, Facebook,
If
wherever.
you have the internet,
Google
if
Northern
you have-
Ghost. You'll find them.
If you have at least one
Be
finger
resourceful,
in
students.
the internet, you
Damn
can
it.
find us on there. You use your tip of your nose to type it. I don't give a shit. That was kind of aggressive. It's your.
I'll leave the decision up to you.
Oh, dear Lord. Well, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me over.
And that's it for this
And
episode.
that's it for this
of Why
episode of
Should We
Why Should We Give a
Shit?
Shit?
Yeah! And we're back with Jeffey on the couch, and our beers are full, and we are drinking them.
They're good.
Delicious. The Shoots IPA. Try it if you like. Don't if you don't want to. My mom hates skunk beers, as she calls it.
Oh.
I know. It's unfortunate. She listens to country music, too. What am I going to do?
Well, what are you going to do?
You know, I remember being a child and rocking out to Stevie Nicks and Guns N' Roses and John Mellencamp. John Cougar
The
Mellencamp.
Cougar.
Back in the day, it was John Cougar Mellencamp.
Mhm.
You know, the Authority song. My mom used to say it at the top of her lungs. You know, wind in her hair, tape deck playing really loud. You know,
I'm picturing like the late 80s.
yeah, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Before, you know, CDs were huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had some, but not a lot.
My first favorite cassette ever was the Rush 2112 cassette.
Really? How old were you?
7.
7. I was listening to Michael Jackson when I was 7.
No. The
I had Thriller,
the
I had
B-side that
Bad,
was
and I had
just
Dangerous.
2112.
And I used to listen to the shit out of them. You know what else I had? I had Ace of Base, The Sign.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that she wants is another baby. Right? They're great.
I do like Ace of Base.
I still like Ace of Base.
Yep.
Remember that time
I still like
we
Rush.
drove all the way to Akron to go see, what was it?
Hot Fuzz. Yeah.
And I made you listen to Ace of Base all the way there. That
And
was
Lady
ridiculous.
Sovereign.
Oh, and Lady Sovereign on the way home.
Yeah. I remember those two
Yeah.
very specifically.
That
'cause
was- Oh, what a strange drive that
what a
was.
strange drive.
But anyways, we were just talking a little bit about music, and you know, for 15 years, wait a minute, 16 years, I've been collecting records. And this is all I really listen to anymore. You know, I listen digitally, obviously. I have my iPod in the car, but if I'm home and I'm listening to music, I'm listening to my turntable because analog is the way to go. They just sound, the music sounds different on vinyl than it does anywhere else. And that's why, you know, this segment's called What's on the Turntable. Because that's what we do in the schoolhouse. We listen to records here because they just sound better. I mean, I remember listening to Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral, for example. I heard noises on the record that I did not hear in the CD in the car.
Oh.
Maybe it's because I'm in the car and there's a lot of other shit going on and you hear the sound of the highway and the road and all of that shit. And I have trouble hearing in the first place because of many, many years of blowing out my ears due to loud music. As I'm sure a lot of other people are in the same boat. But, yeah. Records are the way to go.
I don't listen to enough music to recognize the nuances, but I understand that kind of ritual to a record. And I liked you hear noises that you don't normally hear when you take a record out of the sleeve and you set it on there and you set the needle on it. You're creating
It's a sexual experience.
You're creating a mood in an area where you and the music
not
now
so penisy
interact.
there.
No.
It's in fact, yeah, I like how you said that about like a ritual.
Yeah.
Because there really is something about sitting there and listening to a record. You're forced to confront it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, in the car, you know, it's background noise. It's like elevator music.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much you like it, it's sometimes not the same unless you turn it up really fucking loud. And then people are staring at you, and you're like, I'm in the car, I'm listening to music, and they're like, you.
Yeah. I've been guilty of looking over to the car next to.
Yeah. Oh, I do that too. Every time you pull to a light, you always gotta look over to the light.
Yeah.
Whether they're hot or not.
Not a segment on this podcast.
Right. No. Not. I digress. However, anyways, so lately, I've been listening to this piece, by the band Chrvches, with a V. You'll notice, with a V. That's not how you spell churches, grammatically speaking.
Was it like an old timey?
I don't know. They're from Scotland. That could have something to do with it. Maybe. The album's called Love Is Dead. It came out a few months ago now, I guess. So it's not new, but it's. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna talk about it anyway.
It's new enough.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
They're still riding that high horse. You know, a lot of bands kind of fall off the wagon after a while. This is their third album, their third main album. They had like a remix of Every Open Eye, but this is the third main studio album of theirs. I actually did see them.
What?
Back at the House of Blues with a couple of friends. It was a great show.
I want to see every show at the House of Blues.
Yeah, well, the House of Blues is a nice venue. I went to an art show up there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really kind of shitty because, I mean, the art was great. There's a lot of good, talented artists there. But they had all these rappers there. And nothing against rap. I'm okay with it. I'm cool with it.
Those are two
for
things.
the most part. But, you know, most of today's rap isn't that good. So, but it was really loud. It was like dun 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 dun, you know, and you couldn't hear anybody. You couldn't talk to anybody, have a conversation with the artist like you should want to when you go to an art show where people are promoting their art and selling it. But no, you can't really do that. You had to yell to everybody, like and we left early because it was obnoxious, and that's not the kind of art show you want to go to. But anyways, back to Chrvches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see him at the House of Blues up in Cleveland. And their singer, Lauren Mayberry, she's not only is she this cute petite little thing, but her voice is louder than, like, I don't know, than 1,000 angels,
Oh.
a chorus of angels, you know, seraphim, if you will, if you're a fan of Poe. She just sounds that good.
Wow. So she
beautiful
translates
voice.
live very well.
Yeah, and you've heard her. You've heard some of the singles off the new one.
I
Anyway.
have.
You've heard their old stuff.
Yes, I know all their
They're
old stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
Very very sexy voice.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, super cute, super cute. So easy on the eyes. It's nice to go and see a group who has who have pretty people. Some of the standout tracks. Miracle's good. They have the Get Out song.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here.
I want to just
Get
start
out of
singing
here.
it as soon as you say
Yeah, I
the
know.
name
It's
of it.
really catchy.
Uh-huh.
They're really good at making this what they call dream pop. It's like a new old genre. It's like if somebody took those 80s like Kate Bush kind of groups, synth pop kind of groups, that are like really ethereal, and they kind of gave it a new clothes, if you will. This is kind of where they would come up. My girl, Mrs. Boyfriend, she says that they sound like the Birthday Massacre, but they're not goth. And I get that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Anyway. Anyways, this year they're on the Lollapalooza tour. If you can afford it, we're poor, so
can't.
we are in massive amounts of debt, so we cannot go to Chicago to see them.
I spent all of my money on a 6-pack for.
Oh yeah, we gotta have our podcast fuel. It's important.
Also, we're so poor that we can't afford rights to any of this music.
Right. Yes, unfortunately, we cannot play any clips.
We'd
of our
have to be
music, but-
rich to
because
start
we're
buying
not
music
taking
rights.
that chance.
No.
But it's very easy to YouTube their videos.
Mm-hmm.
Just go to look up Chrvches on their, on a YouTube, and you'll find their videos.
It's
their
definitely on Prime Music
audio
where I was listening
clips.
to it.
They're on Spotify and all that crap, I'm sure.
Yep.
But yeah, if you can afford to go to Lollapalooza to see them, go ahead, do it. It's worth it. They're a good show. Big fan. I bought a T-shirt from that show.
Wow.
Yes.
And
Yes.
considering how many bands you enjoy, it
Mhm.
you could never buy all of their T-shirts.
Yes.
That's a good.
Yeah, I
way
like
to
a lot of
gauge.
music. I like a
Yeah.
lot of music. You know what? They even did a cover of Bela Lugosi's "Dead." I love Bauhaus. Love them.
I love
Love
that
them.
song.
But I gotta say, Chrvches did the song justice. It sounds completely different than what you would think. It still sounds like Chrvches. Doesn't sound like Bauhaus.
No, it could not.
The
possibly.
original Bela Lugosi's "Dead" was like fucking, I don't know, 8 minutes plus. Like maybe it was almost 10 minutes long.
little dirgy.
Really long song.
Yeah.
Their Chrvches versions anyway. It's a lot shorter.
And is it still dream
It's
pop?
under 5 minutes.
Oh well.
Oh,
Wow.
it's got a good beat. It makes you want to dance a sexy dance. I call that the sway. Makes you want to sway your hips from side to side like Elvis Presley, but possibly in a sexier way than he did. I could see why I was fired now.
Oh no. The Elvis dance.
Yeah, and in fact, that was actually on the soundtrack for Vampire Academy. You remember hearing about this movie?
Yes. Because it had a very neon kind of marketing campaign, if I remember
Yes,
correctly. Yeah.
pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
yeah,
neon green.
It was appealing. I almost wanted to
Yes,
see
it was appealing, but I was like, okay, this is a stupid concept.
Yeah, I did not.
And no
see
offense
it.
to anybody who likes that
Loves
movie or
Vampire
anything,
Academy.
but just not my thing. I don't know what's your thing. I feel like Chrvches could have been on a better soundtrack because I feel like they're a better band. But what does it matter what I think? I don't think anybody gives a damn. Strange. Anyway, which brings us to our next segment. So the next segment is called Strange Cinema. And this is basically just us talking about a film that is strange. Whether it excessively violent or psychologically damaging or just makes you just uncomfortable. Because we like those things over here.
Very much.
We like to make you feel uncomfortable. Yes. So with all of the talk about sticking it to academia, so to speak, I thought of a fun movie that really takes me back to when I was a young chap. Probably about 12 or so. The Faculty. Great movie.
Very good movie. I
Uh,
should have rewatched it in preparation for this conversation.
Oh, I know. It's guaranteed to jack you up.
Ha!
From 98, I believe, 1998. You can fact check me on IMDb, please.
You can go back through any of this podcast, fact check us, and put it in the comments.
Yes,
maybe
you
we'll
could,
read them.
but maybe we'll read them, and maybe we'll just say
I will not read them.
you're not important enough to remember.
I'm kidding. That's terrible marketing.
But
we probably want to read
this
them.
movie was important enough to remember.
100%.
Directed by Robert Rodriguez, director of El Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Planet Terror,
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids. He should apologize for that one.
I've never seen it.
But written by Kevin Williamson, who, if you don't know, wrote the Scream movies,
Right.
with the exception of, I think, number 3. That was Aaron Kruger, I think.
Oh. But he did 4?
Yes.
Oh.
1, 2, and 4.
Fantastic.
And I believe I Know What You Did Last Summer as well.
Oh, another
he was
classic
responsible
90s
for all
teen
those
slasher.
90s, teen slashes that we all know and love. But he has this wit about his movies that he's written. Especially the movies like this. They're kind of aware of themselves. They're kind of a social commentary almost on something. Where,
Borderline on satire themselves, even though they have been satirized.
Exactly. Like
It's-
Scream was a satire on the horror genre at that time because all we were getting was slasher, boobies, sex equals death. This is why Randy in Scream was always like, you don't know the rules, you gotta know the rules. You watch Prom Night, you save time, right? So that's the Scream connection there. But the Faculty is no different.
No.
I don't think. It deals with the idea of alienation, where Elijah Wood and company. You got Josh Hartnett. You got
Usher.
Clea Duvall. Oh yeah, Usher.
Never
in
forget
his
Usher.
award-winning role there. What did he do? The morning announcements or something?
Oh,
Or
did
was
he?
on like a radio? Did they have like a high school radio station or something? I don't know, but I remember him like doing something like
Yeah.
that and people listening to it.
Yeah. He had a...
Or no, that was She's All That. He was the radio guy and She's All That.
What?
Yeah,
It
no,
has
he
been
was.
a very
he was.
long time since I've
He
seen that.
fucking was. Look it up.
I will.
No, he was just a football player.
Yeah, the Letterman's jacket sticks out big time.
Sorry, sometimes they all bleed together. But yeah, we had Usher, we had Clea Duvall as Stokely, like one of my all-time favorite crushes in a movie. Oh my god. I loved Stokely so much. He was so cute. And like at the end of the movie, she gets like, she's like all gothed out like the whole movie. And then at the end of the movie, she's not goth anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Why?
You ruined the movie for me!
Ah.
You aliens! You made the weird girl normal.
Well, that transitions to, I think, a point, right? There's something about, like, individuality and, like, what makes people themselves in that movie.
Right, and it's like in academia right now, right? This is not a coincidence,
I don't think it's a coincidence either. Especially that it takes place in a school.
Yeah. It takes place in a school. In Ohio!
In
no less,
Ohio.
right? Yeah, small town Ohio. That's the whole point. You know, the aliens go through the back door, infect all the teachers in the high school. The teachers infect all the students, and then the students go home and infect their parents, and it just spreads. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which they cite in the movie.
Yeah, for
or
sure.
The Puppet Masters by Heinlein.
Wow.
Stokely talks about that. But yeah, like it's really strange. Like they're trying to make, like right now they're trying to make the students conform, with the cookie cutter, educations, curriculums. It's weird. It's crazy. It's strange. It's un-American almost.
Yeah, I would have been in 5th grade when the movie came out, and I wish that I was a little older, so that in the moment I could have made some of these connections and been a little more...
Yeah, I think when I saw it the first time, I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, I
In
probably
fact-
didn't see it when it first came out.
In fact, you know, when I was that age, I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go over to my grandma's and
It's my
watch,
exact same story.
and watch the movies I wasn't allowed to watch.
Darkman was my first R-rated movie.
Ha, Darkman.
I'll remember it till the day I die.
Yay. Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
it was a good
Liam
one.
Neeson.
I'm not sad about that.
That
being my
Irishman.
first either.
He's a sexy Irishman.
He is.
But, right. But yeah, that's like it's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but on a grander scale. Maybe the teachers, maybe they're the establishment aliens, man,
Or something akin to aliens.
or something akin to
parasites,
spores.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It complacency, right? We could just-
Complacency.
I had plenty of old, almost retired teachers who were passing out the same handouts that they passed out in 1974 when they started teaching, right? You ruined the cog, right? New students, new generation, new ideas, but you're still doing the same thing over and over again. That's
Right.
just as bad.
Well, maybe that's the problem. No new ideas.
Right? Was it?
I mean, it's like in our entire culture right now. It's like reboot, remake, sequel of a really famous franchise that has
Good
come out
connection.
like 30 years later.
Yeah,
We're gonna save that for another podcast.
that'll be a good one.
Yes, we're going to do one on remakes, absolutely, and
I
it
can't
will
wait
be
to have that
glorious. And we will
conversation.
rag on every single reboot that has come out in the
I
past
like
30
a
years,
few.
maybe 20 years, 15, whatever. But the pattern is getting unbearable. The lack of thought being put into things. And that sort of thing. You know, The Faculty was a really good movie because it was original, it was
So
different,
original.
it was fresh. It wasn't one of those slasher movies per se.
No.
It was different. And at the time, you know, especially because we were growing up and we were just about high school age anyway, it was one of those movies that kind of, I don't know, made you feel like you belonged somewhere.
Like our Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, a little bit. Like you could.
Yeah,
you
it
could.
kind of had those archetypes, you know, the goth and the nerd and the jock and the rebel.
Right, and instead of an oppressive principal, we have an oppressive alien spore issue
Right.
going on.
Played by B.B. Newworth.
Yeah.
Frasier's girlfriend, Lilith.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
I do now.
Yeah, I'm full of a bunch of useless information. This is why I'm doing this podcast, because I have so much information in my brain and I just have to share it
I
with
learn
somebody.
things all the time. Those records we talked about in the last section, I've listened to so much new music when I'm around him. It's crazy. He's got it all up here, too. He knows exactly what he wants
Who knows?
to listen to and what it says.
If you say so.
I do.
Okay, so for the end of every podcast, I thought it would be a good idea to share a poem with you all. And since I've got aliens on the brain. I had a sudden stroke of genius, and I thought it would be interesting to share a poem about that time I thought maybe I saw a UFO. So I'm going to put on my poet hat here. And I'm going to light this candle. Like so. And then I'm going to share this poem with you. It's called Close Encounter, Liberty Park. Shooting up, stars fall, car dips in the road. Clock on the dash reads 1:17 a.m., then stops. Analog parts make digital circuits. Inverted pulses cross the sky. Our wireworked cortexes must malfunction. Glitter balls zip into the void. Between Vega and Polaris, we see them. People call us godless, but we believe in truth. And we believe in lights in the sky. We believe in the hairs on our backhands. We believe our eyes are quick enough. And that's all we have for this episode of Professor Boyfriend Schoolhouse. Thank you for tuning in. As a reminder, please consider going to our Patreon, patreon.com/ProfessorBoyfriend. Consider contributing. We would appreciate it very much. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe. Click the bell. Make sure that you get those notifications, because everybody loves those. We want you to feel special, just like Mr. Rogers. And don't forget to listen on Spotify and on iTunes, either or. I don't care. We don't care. Just as long as you listen, we appreciate it. Thanks very much. We'll see you next episode.